What is up?
We're back.
We're back, baby. Back for episode 2.
Episode 2.
So this is exciting.
Yeah.
We're back here.
I was looking forward to it after last week, you know?
Yeah. Same here. I was thinking about it all week.
Yeah.
Brainstorming stuff to talk about.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm pumped.
How was your week?
It was good. I had some jobs that all ran together at the end of the week and had to cram some stuff in, work a little extra time, but
Nice.
It all worked out. Kids were busy Saturday morning, so got some stuff filtered in then. How about you?
It was good. Yeah. No, we were talking about it a little bit earlier, but like for some random reason, it was a busy week at the restaurants. I think just because the weather's been so bad and it's been cold and all that. And then this week, this past week, it warmed up a little bit and not as much snow. So it was nice to see just an increase in volume because this time of the year when it's cold out is usually pretty rough. So that was good to see. And then it's been a little bit slower for the Airbnbs. Just same thing. Wintertime, we get more business in the summer. And then this company called Power USA. I have no idea who they are, but they send this guy out. It's out of Madrid or something. And they keep sending him out, and they extended the stay another week. So that was kind of cool to see. It's like, we have no idea who this Power USA guy is, but like he just keeps booking. And so it's just kind of a running joke with me and my wife, like, who is Power USA?
Is he like a reviewer?
No, he's just, I don't know if it's like an energy company or what it is, but like, we're always just so thankful for Power. Thank you, Power.
Power USA. I want to meet him now.
I know. Sometimes I'll get a glimpse of him like walking into the house. There's Power.
Power, if you're listening, come on.
We love you.
Power USA. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into branding. What branding looks like. What do you need to think about for your brand? But before we get into that, we were texting a little bit, and I want to pick your brain about something. We have a challenge for each other.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this.
We are both running our own separate, smaller YouTube channels for our business. You for Costas Restaurant Group, right? Is that what
it's just under Evan Costas, but I post I do a lot of reels of our food, and then I'm kind of doing the same thing with restaurants that you're doing with home design, where it's just like tips on how to like open a restaurant and how to maintain the restaurant that you've got, things like that. So yeah, we're kind of doing the same thing in that regard, just separate industries and just kind of growing that. I mean, we're both new to that. I've got like 50 followers, and you've got more because you've kind of been doing it a little bit longer. Yeah, I'm almost
to 300 now, but neither is a lot. Mine's Burnham Design Co. That's my home design business. And so we thought, what if we just competed? The YouTube monetization amount is 1,000. Once you get to there and a certain number of watch time, YouTube will start cutting you checks. So first one to 1,000 followers, 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, wins something, but we don't know what. Did you have any ideas?
Like $500 or something.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down.
Whatever.
I was like, is it a piece of gear or something that we both want? I also thought, is there like something embarrassing or like a challenge we could put up on each other's social media platform?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm down with.
For now, we can just say it's money, but we can put some more thought into it.
Okay.
You've got a little bit of an edge on me.
I know. It is a little unfair. So,
but I'm going to work that much harder.
Dang, yeah, you crap. So it's on. Follow us on.
Yeah. So mine's, I think it's Evan.Costas is mine. Yours is at Burnham Design Co.
Yep.
So if you want to help us get there, follow me and him.
Design Co.
Yeah.
Sweet.
All right.
So
it's
on. Evan, what's a brand?
Oh man. So I was thinking about this. So like every restaurant that we've done has a different feel, different personality, but then we've got this restaurant group that, encompasses like the vision of all of the restaurants, which is like, the important stuff like promoting a really positive culture, leading with, integrity and honor, respecting our employees, servant leadership, all that like important stuff. But then you've got like, we've gone through the process with each restaurant where we've tried to give it its own personality, you know? So like with Brick Street, it might be, Brick Street Burrito might be like a little edgier and it's fast service. And Le Peep is more geared towards like an older, not more geared towards an older clientele, but like we've got a different demographic there. So like the vibe that we try to create is going to look different. So it's a little bit different for us because we go through that process every time we've opened a restaurant. Sometimes we work with professionals that like help us figure out like our brand identity. And other times we don't want to spend the money on that. And we're just kind of like winging it ourselves and having someone help us with the logo. So when we've kind of talked about branding, it's always kind of changed along the way, you know, just because of that, just from that perspective, you know?
Yeah. It's really interesting you said that you have this group, because when I was thinking about this week, your restaurants, all the logos and brand packages you guys put together feel like they go together. Like if you put them all on a sign, it'd be like, oh, okay, that's the same group. They're not all next. I mean, two are next door to each other in town, but not all of them are.
Right.
But they all kind of have a similar yet their own feel. How important was that in like getting? Is it just because the same people created them and that's why they all are similar, or were you intentional about we want our logos and brands to feel good together?
No, I don't think we ever considered that. I think it was like with every restaurant, we were just trying to figure out like what the need was in that community. Like there's a lot of pizza places. Okay, how could we do a different type of pizza place? Then we landed on coal-fired pizza, you know, and then like it just kind of morphed from there. Okay, what do we want the place to feel like? We want it to be like, you know, from the 50s or 60s, have that feel, even though it's a new build out. And
why was that? Just for fun, or was there some data or science
I mean, there's
behind
always with all of our restaurants, especially over the last like 4 to 5 years, we've tried to like we like to gravitate more to like towards like mid-century elements. Mm-hmm. So like here we've got, you know, Eames fiberglass chairs, and we just like that stuff. Like that's in our house, and I like that design. So there's that component of it, and then like a classic pizza parlor. You know, we just kind of thought like we just wanted to gravitate towards that time period. You know, and then at Birdie's we kind of did the same thing. It's that same era, but it's more like a vintage LA or New York City diner. You know, like classy.
Where this is more like a family room. Yeah. Brady Bunch.
Yeah, we wanted this one to feel like Grandpa's basement, you know?
Yeah.
Back in the day. So that makes it fun, you know, to come up with its own personality. But we by no means did we think like, all right, all this, even though all of our logos are on a gift card, we like do a company gift card because all the restaurants are in town. We didn't think like, all right, they all have to like look cohesive or anything.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. How did you come up with your logo, your name, your brand identity, all that? Like, was that all you, or did you have someone helping you with that?
Yeah. So I was when we first were brainstorming it, I was brainstorming this with a buddy, and we were going to partner together. We never ended up partnering together. Our timelines didn't quite sync up. And then when I started the business, I asked if I could use the name and stuff, and he was like, "Okay, fine," because I thought it was really good. So my father runs a pretty predominant home building company here in town, Steiner Homes.
But wait, before you get into that, what was there significance to the name? Or are you going to get into that?
Yeah, I'll get into it. So the first thing was I didn't want to do Steiner Design Company or something like that. Just wanted to differentiate myself a little bit from that. I still work with my parents' company, love them. They build an awesome house, still doing a lot of design work for them. But also I had a goal of mine was to build my own thing, and I didn't want every conversation to be like, wait, are you working for Steiner Homes, or who am I hiring here? So I decided to just pivot and come up with a different name altogether. So then this is a long, super boring story that's very, very nerdy. What it gets down to is the Birnam Wood was referenced in a Shakespeare play that J.R.R. Tolkien saw, and that was his inspiration for creating Ents in Lord of the Rings. And so me and this buddy,
You're such a dork.
Your eyes totally glazed over.
Should we get the Strategio board game out? And
Yes. I brought 6 board games that we can play after. I'm looking at a board game right now.
Yeah.
As part of the decoration here.
Yep.
So yeah, very nerdy. I don't answer this question often because I don't think many people care. But we just thought the name was cool, and one of our favorite bands used it in the song. We're like, okay, sweet, we'll go with that. And then, like I said, when I started, I ended up using that. So the name has some significance to me. Like it reminds me of a thing I love in my life and working with a friend and stuff. So that's exciting to me, but also it doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
As far as the logo, the brand, the identity, one thing that I really felt was, okay, I look at all the architect brands out there, and they're all, I don't know how to say this nicely, but they all seem like they want to look very cool and chic. Not a single architect ever has colors in their logo. It's always black and white. It's always some very simple logo, very simple font. And I'm not an architect. I've worked for home builders. I have a degree in engineering. Like I took a different path to this, so I wanted to brand myself as something different. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what if I did color in it, and not only like a bold color that home builders are seeing often? So I gravitated toward like the Home Depot orange and the Lowe's, like the bright lime green, the Seattle Seahawks jersey kind of thing. You know, and I settled on that lime green, the like safety vest color. So I wanted, when a builder sees my logo, to think like, oh, that's something I'm seeing often. What is this thing?
Yeah. That's smart.
I hope so.
A little subliminal messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I knew I definitely didn't want to do black and white, and wanted some color in there. But yeah, it didn't go very much deeper than that. I designed the logo on Canva. Kind of wish I didn't.
Yeah. People seem to like Canva. I mean, I've never designed a logo.
I love Canva. Canva is awesome. You can get 1 million logos in like 20 seconds, and it's great. I realized with my logo, sitting there with all the colors, it looks what I think is cool. I like it. A couple years ago, I started sponsoring a local bike race here, and I saw my logo on the back of the t-shirts. And I'm like, oh man, my logo looks like just some random generic thrown together local hometown, not a big deal kind of brand.
Yeah.
When you put it just in black and white on the back of a t-shirt, it's like, it just doesn't feel as exciting. So,
well, you can always change it.
Yeah. I've thought for a long time about sprucing it up, and changing it and getting to something that's more me, a little less generic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a big thing for us is like when we go through this process, of designing a logo specifically, one of the things my dad is always big on is like, I can't read it. It's not big enough. I can't see, mm-hmm. Which I get kind of caught up into like, how does it feel? And what is it, but I think that's a really good point because, whether it's a logo for your business or like, a campaign sign, like if you're running for office, I'll see the same thing where like the campaign sign, it's like, who is running for city council or who is, you can't read it. And it's like, I think people overlook that or don't think about that. But I think that's a big component. You want it to feel a certain way, but you got to be able to read it. If you're driving by and it's a sign on the, especially that, like if it's, mm-hmm. if you have a brick and mortar or if it's.
Yeah. If you're, especially when you're starting something from scratch and smaller, if you're Apple or Nike, nobody needs to read anything because you have the budget to shove that logo down people's throats, and everybody on the planet knows what you are.
Yeah.
For us, we don't have those multi-million-dollar TV budgets to really develop an icon as our brand. So I've even added, one thing I noticed about my company name was Burnham Design Co. It doesn't really tell you what I do. And so part of my logo, I had to add custom home design to the bottom part of it. And so now I'm like, oh man, that's 5-6 words that I have to print every time I want to communicate my logo. I don't know. It's tough. I think you probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, even with talking about the name for this podcast, which we're getting there, but we haven't like landed on anything. It's like we've had some ideas that are like specific to the street that we're doing this on, or like the region that we live in, and all that. But there is an element of like, well, if someone's going to search for this, let's make it as easy as possible for them to find it, or if they're interested in the topic, so in that sense, it's like the name's kind of boring.
Yeah.
But you want to make it easy for people to find you, whether it's your business or a podcast or whatever, I think a name is important in that regard too, as much as you want it to feel a certain way or look a certain way, you want people to understand quickly what it is.
Yeah. Totally agree.
So how important is like your name and your brand identity to like profitability, would you say?
That's such a great question, and I don't have a good answer.
And do you feel like if you did something different, like some of the things you just talked about, like if you did some of those things differently, would that make a bigger impact? I mean, it sounds like you almost say it would, because you're like, I wish I would have done that differently or made it easier to understand what I am.
Yeah. I'm thinking if I had a more attractive logo, would I get more traffic to my site and or social media, whatever? The answer is probably. If we're a little less generic, I don't know about you, but if I see something that looks interesting to me, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I think it's human nature. And looking at my logo with a really critical eye, like I said, on the back of that t-shirt, like I wouldn't look that company up unless I saw custom home design on there, unless I needed a custom home design. But
yeah, but your field's different than like mine,
Yeah.
You're hoping that people are finding your videos on TikTok and engaging with you, and like you can get clients that way.
Yeah.
Whereas like I need people to see my sign as they're driving by. I need to send out direct mail pieces and do things that like people, to where people don't know about us are seeing us for the first time, and it's like, oh, that logo looks cool. Oh, it's a pizza place. All right, like let's go check it out.
Yeah, the impulse quotient of like, I have no impulse buyers. Very, very few impulse buy from me, right? Whereas you're not a candy bar, right? But you do have plenty of people that drive by once and come and stop by, or Google restaurants Valparaiso and pull up one and come. So, yeah, I think I don't know. I think the reason I haven't done any rebranding or anything yet is because, I mean, frankly, it's because I've been busy. Like, I don't know if I need it.
Right.
And so I kind of wonder if you're a small, and I get a lot of word of mouth referral, a lot through TikTok and Instagram, where they're not seeing anything of my brand really before they're contacting me. One Instagram video to a DM to an email. Sure, they see my logo in the email, but that's way far down the chain of why they're making the decision, right?
Yeah.
So they're not making a decision because of my brand. So I don't know if you're a small service-based business, and I don't know that it matters a ton. I think it does matter a ton for restaurants. Maybe my wife calls me an elitist. So maybe I'm superficial when it comes to things like this. But I judge pretty harshly on the logo, the feel when I get to the website. You know how you look up a place and you're like, I can tell they spent 0 seconds on this website.
Yeah.
They designed it in 2002 and haven't touched it since. And I don't want to do business with those companies. Unless I got a great recommendation or it's my only option, I will shy away really, really quickly.
Well, and it's kind of the same thing when I go into a restroom at one of my restaurants and tell my employees, like, guys, we got to do a better job of cleaning the restaurants. Like, our customers are viewing how we clean our restaurants, and they're thinking like that's how they take care of the kitchen.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. It's like, okay, how much do these? It's at the end of the day, it's like, do they know what they're doing, and is this professional, and do I feel like I'm going to get a good quality product from them?
Yeah.
And with certain industries, it's less important than others, and but I think those are things. I mean, that I think about that, and it sounds like you do too.
Is there a way you can measure success in your branding?
Not. I mean, there probably is. I haven't really like tried to figure that out, or like, I don't know. There's a lot of data that I can use to help grow sales, but like that is probably not something that I've spent a ton of time like looking into. Like, how do I quantify that into like real numbers?
Yeah, I guess I read a branding book one time, and they were really big on A/B testing. And I guess you could put up 2 different websites, and they each had different logos, and see which website converted better. I don't think either of us have the traffic on our website to really do a solid A/B test, though.
When at some point it's like with restaurants, at least specifically, it's like you've got a timeline before you get the doors open, and it's like we don't have 3 months to do this testing. Like we got to get the doors open.
Yeah, right.
You know, but that stuff is important, and yeah, and I don't know, yeah.
But I look at like giant brands like Walmart. Walmart doesn't have it's not a good name. It's not a good logo.
No, but at some point it's just like that is.
Yeah, they just got to get the doors open.
Yeah, it's more of a feeling than anything. You know, like like McDonald's and all those. It's, you know, no one thinks like that's such a stupid name. Maybe they did in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, but after a certain point in time, it just becomes like more well known. You know,
the Beatles is a bad band name. It's a bad pun.
It is. Yeah.
Greatest band in history. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm thinking like, are they? But they're good. Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah. Yeah.
They're good. I guess they're okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but yes,
I totally derailed you. Keep going.
I have nothing to say.
I wanted to circle back to this. You touched on it earlier. How deep does your brand need to go? Like how when I say how deep, are you thinking about the style of napkins in your bathroom? And I mean, obviously you thought about the decorations that are on the wall here, the font on your menus. Like, how important is all that stuff to, how much energy did you guys put into developing all that?
Really complex, because I think it changes from like brand to brand or restaurant to restaurant. I do think we do try to put a lot of detail into that for sure. And I've been to my brother-in-law, my sister-in-law own a restaurant, and like, they're so good about the details, you know? And when I go in there, I'm like, man, I love that soap dispenser. Like, I think I want to get that, you know, it just looks so clean. And like, every time I go in there, I'm like very impressed with how much detail they put into things. And I try to like model that. I'll try to pay attention to that kind of stuff. But we have 6 restaurants, so like I don't put that amount of detail into every restaurant. I try to, like, if I notice something, I'll maybe bring it up to the manager, like, hey, what do you think about this? But I would say there's a number of components in each restaurant, within each restaurant, that's like, that could be changed and could be improved upon. But, you know, and then with fine dining restaurant, it's like we've designed menus for each restaurant. But sometimes I kind of feel like if you, especially if it's a fine dining restaurant, like you go there and it looks, they change the menu out so much. It's literally like a Word document. They might have their logo on it, but it's just like 4 entrees, you know, it's still kind of, but it's at the same time, it feels like professional still for some reason.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. I think it just changes depending on the concept. Like, how much energy do you put into that? Obviously, it's a lot easier to just type out a menu on a Word document and then print that and have it on a clipboard. But I can't do that. I don't think I can do that at every restaurant because it doesn't fit the feel. But for a really fancy restaurant, sometimes it just works, you know, and it's easy. So there's still thought that goes into that, you know. So I think the more you can focus on the details, it's only going to improve your brand. Yeah. And no one else is going to do it if you don't do it.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
But I will say, like, we've worked with branding companies before on certain projects, and then we've worked with just like logo designers and menu designers. And I just kind of feel like I've been doing it long enough to where I almost view like a lot of times when you work with a bigger ad agency or branding agency, I feel like they'll spend weeks on like brand identity. What is your voice and all that stuff. And it's like, dude, just give me a logo and like get me a menu design. Like, I don't need to know like who we're honest, we're humble. Here's like, I don't know. Like,
is that what you'd recommend a startup business to do? Is just get a logo?
I don't. That's kind of what I was gonna say. Is like if it was our first time doing this and we knew we were gonna scale this company out and we were gonna have 6 restaurants, maybe they're all the same. Maybe it's all the same concept and we've expanded it in different locations, or we've done, or it's a new. We're gonna do a new restaurant every single time. Like at that point when you're starting out, you don't really know, where life's gonna take you. So it's hard for me to answer that. I would have felt like that would have been maybe valuable, like in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But like on our, 5th or 6th restaurant, it's like we know like the company vision and what our mission is and what we want our culture within the restaurant to look like and all that, like, and who we're going after. Like we've got an idea. We know what our community, like what the demographic is in our community, and this is where we're doing business. Like, let's just get this stuff done, you know? Like, give me the deliverables and let's move on.
Yeah, interesting.
But I'm not saying that that's the right approach. That's just kind of like my mindset. Like, that's how I felt in the past,
Yeah.
But on this last project, we just worked with a menu designer and a logo designer. And because she didn't spend all this time and energy on that stuff, it's like it saved us a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was like $5,000 instead of 20 or 30 to figure out the brand, and we got it done faster, And so I at this point, it's if I'm going to do another business, I would just go that route. But that's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've always been bootstraps kind of stuff, obviously, with it. So I like to nerd out and dig into research and stuff on these things, but I've never paid an outside source to do a logo or something for me. And I know I'm not a graphic designer. I just know a couple cheater apps to fool some people. But I know it could be better. And I struggle with what's that line? Because like I've seen quotes from ad agencies before, and I'm like, for like the whole brand development package, and I'm like, whoa, that's more than I charge for a house.
Dude, you should work with this girl that she works for the parks department. She does freelance.
Oh yeah, she does the shirts that.
Yeah, that girl. Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, every one of the shirts, the front side, the logo she does is awesome. And then you turn around.
Just my logo that sucks.
You got to know, right? But yeah, she does great. It looks awesome. Yeah, but like, I don't know. Is that work? I guess it would be just for one thing I've realized is there's almost no wasted money in business if you're going to learn, and if you're going to pay somebody to do a logo, it might not give you a single dollar down the road, but you learn something through that process. I think it's probably worth it. So I don't know. Maybe I should just do it.
Yeah. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. You kind of hinted at this when you were talking about the ad agency. Have you ever looked into brand archetypes?
No, that was like the first time I ever heard of it when you brought it up to me the other day. I was like, what is that?
Okay.
But I researched it, and it's like, it's kind of like obvious in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do feel like, I mean, I'll let you talk about what it is. Just explain briefly what it is. But like, one of the archetypes was it was talking about like the innocent one or something like that, and it was kind of going into like Burt's Bees and all. And when I was talking about these brands that are like one of these archetypes, I was like, well, yeah, if you're doing like TV spots, I would think that that's a really quick, easy way to communicate. Like, are you edgy? Are you? And I think there are things you can do within your business to kind of promote that, because I think we have done. It does apply to us on a small level, but I think when you're a bigger company, that is more important. But I'll let you explain kind of what it is. Yeah.
So there are 12 of them in this school of thought, 12 brand archetypes, and they're basically, if every brand had a personality to like anchor to. So yeah, you mentioned innocent, sage, explorer, outlaw, magician, hero, lover, jester, everyman, caregiver, ruler, creator. So those are the 12. And then a lot of the popular brands fit into like outlaw. They have Harley Davidson, Diesel, really going against like countercultural type things. And so I enjoyed, when I was thinking about branding and everything, I enjoyed researching this because it gave me something to come back to and really solidify in my head of what, and I think what I tried to get was Burnham Design Co. as everyman brand. Because I think that most fits my personality. I want to help the average person design a great house and learn more about the home building process. And so that's why I went away from the like super artsy, architect-y logos and went with something that's more
relatable.
Yeah, more relatable. The like construction neon green as my main color. So yeah, I actually have. Do you want me to share what I think your brands are?
Yeah. I didn't look into enough to do it for you, though.
No, that's fine. So I think Burger House is the explorer. Brand voice, exciting, fearless, daring. I think Lenny's is everyman.
Yeah.
And that would be friendly, humble, authentic. I think Brick Street is, there's a couple it could be. I'm thinking maybe like outlaw or hero. Hero, honest, candid, brave.
Probably
That's
hero.
That's Nike.
Yeah,
That's Adidas. And then I struggled with
Birdies.
No, Birdies I think
Lil
is everyman too. Yeah, with Lil Peep. I don't know if it was like
maybe innocent.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
or caregiver. I wasn't really sure with
and
Lil Peep.
that is like the one restaurant that's a chain.
Yeah.
You know?
So it's not really
like,
you. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say maybe like innocent or everyman. I mean, you're gonna have a lot of that when you're in a community where it's just a smaller demographic, and I see a lot of the same people going from one restaurant to the next. You know. So in a sense, it's like almost every restaurant's kind of got a little bit of everyman in them, you know, except for like Stacks. Stacks would be like kind of edgier or something.
Yeah, I think Stacks is maybe like the creator or a hero.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that jive with what you had in your head for these brands?
Yeah, without even really putting a ton of thought into it, it's like it does make sense. And just hearing you talk about it kind of like goes against what I just said. Is like I don't think it really applies to us. We're too small. But I think you are right. It kind of does. You know, I don't know what that would change in how we do things here. You know, maybe we like kind of just lean into that a little bit more.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But I don't know what that looks like in terms of like how, you know, do we change what the servers wear for their uniforms, or what the menu looks like, or how we word things when we make a social media post, you know, to like be more in line with. I mean, I think there's maybe a lot of little things you can do. I just don't know. I haven't put enough thought into it to know like what that would be. Yeah.
I think like if I were to ever hire somebody to create a logo or a video for me, I think I would tell them this. Like, I think my brand is an everyman brand. Can you try and lock into that?
Yeah.
For me, you know, and if but yeah, I don't know. I love the personality profile, all that crap. I just really geek out over. So it makes me very happy to dive into it.
Have you ever gotten any like feedback from your clients on your brand? You know, like,
no,
why did you
really
do this, or why is your logo?
I've had
so
a small handful ask me about the name. Some people call me Adam Burnham. They just think it's my last name, which is whatever. It's fine.
Do you like on your website? Do you like say like have Burnham? The wood, whatever, you know, it means like something about wood. You said, right?
Yeah.
Burnham. I don't know, but it doesn't correlate to like what.
Yeah, I don't have that story on my website anywhere. I think I've probably posted it on social media in a story.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the road. I can't remember. But yeah,
I know what you mean. You kind of had to pick a name though. You know, you couldn't go with Steiner Home Design because Steiner Homes is your dad and everyone knows who that is in town. So yeah, I see that. But
And I didn't want to go too generic with it because I don't know. I feel like that cheapens it in some way. If I was just like Northwest Indiana home designer,
Yeah.
I have a buddy who doesn't have his business anymore, but it was Third Coast Design Co., which I loved. I'm like, oh, that's
Yeah, but
awesome
everyone uses Third Coast.
I know. Yeah.
Like we thought about doing the same thing. Like I hate coming up with names. It is like my least favorite thing to do in business.
It's tough because everything sounds awful.
I know. I mean, we landed on like Brick Street Burrito because we're on a brick street.
Yeah.
I
like the name Brick Street Burrito.
It works. And like, but it took us like months of just brainstorming to come up with like the simplest name. And I'm like, all right, that's good enough. We're not, because certain names I just feel like, okay, it sounds like we're trying too hard or whatever. Lenny's was like, there is no Lenny, Lenny's Coal Fired Pizza. It was like, we were going to nickname our daughter Lenny. Her name's Ellen, but we ended up going with a different nickname. So we're like, well, why don't we just use Lenny? And like, I can picture some, guy with a cigarette hanging out his mouth, like in the 60s, like throwing pies back there.
Yeah.
Like that's like the vibe that we wanted, but same sort of thing. I mean, we ended up coming with that name. We hired a branding agency to like come up with all these names, and it just didn't feel right. Like all the names they came up with, like just didn't feel right. So
yeah, I have 1,000 logos in Canva of all the scrapped names that I'm like, our grandpa was Swedish and designed his own homes and built a lot. And so I'm like Googling every Swedish word that has anything to do with home building and trying to fit those as names. And none of them really like felt right. Everything was kind of a little bit weird.
I will say though, like Swedish design and Swiss design, like I love that stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's very simplistic, minimalistic, like I love that stuff.
It's like Scandinavian style homes.
Yeah.
That's all I want to design and build.
Yeah.
Those are by far my favorite.
Yeah.
I wish I had more clients requesting those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Naming is hard. And that's why so many brands just go with the last name.
Yeah.
Like Walmart is
Sam Walton.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was cool. I got to go like through the original Five and Dime because we have family that lives in Bentonville.
Oh yeah.
So it was really cool. Like you can see his office, like they didn't touch it, since,
that's cool.
Since he's been gone. So it's, it's a really interesting story and family and all that.
Yeah.
But lame name,
Yeah. But it worked.
Yeah. If you're starting a new business, like someone watching this wants to start a business of their own, what advice would you give to them? Like based on all the things we've kind of gone over that have been important to us and not been important to us
for building a brand.
Yeah.
I am a big trust your gut kind of guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm a big do it myself kind of guy. So I think knowing yourself is really, really good because if you are that, you have those traits, you want to be the one that has your hands on the website, then like do it and post it. Get something out into the world and get real feedback on it instead of fighting in your head all day long.
Yeah.
If you're not the person that wants to mess around with a logo, if you're not the person that wants to mess around with a website, like hire it quick and get somebody that I think is simple and good.
Yeah.
Someone that understands you.
I would definitely not go on like Fiverr. One of those websites, like spend $100 for, I mean, you can still find someone, like I said, you can still find someone to spend a few $1,000 and get some good quality stuff. But you want to see, that's where just like networking in your community and knowing like who's doing the design for the parks department and do they freelance. Like that's how we found this girl and we were happy with her. Like, I mean, she got stuff to us quick. She understood it, you know? Yeah. And I feel like it's a risk either way, if you hire someone for the first time, but like, I hate that when it's like, you get those first few mock-ups back and you're like, dude, they don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. One book that really helped me think through all this was the one I referenced earlier, Making Websites Win. it's not necessarily a branding book, but I think to think through your online sales process alongside your brand, I think is probably really helpful. So research a lot, get into the weeds of what you do and don't want to look like.
Yeah.
I don't know. At
It's
least
hard
that's
because,
what I would
like,
do.
especially if you're doing it on your own, there's so much that goes into starting a new business, you know? And it's like, okay, now I got to take like the next 3 months and kind of think about like our brand identity. It feels like a waste of time in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I would say definitely. Don't let a name, a logo, a website be the reason you don't open your doors.
Yeah.
Meaning, get something up and get it live. That you doing real, you can adjust all that stuff later. You can rebrand. There's brands that have went from garbage brands to great brands. Like, you can change all that stuff. Yes, the first impression matters, and I think it's important. But don't get the paralysis analysis thing where you spend 3 months like, oh, I'm not going to start my business because I don't have a good name for it yet. Like that's dumb.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Right.
If you want to start a business, start a business.
Get it open.
Yeah. Open your doors. Start taking checks.
Yeah.
So, what's one thing this next week coming up that you're excited about? What are you up to?
Well, it's less like next week and more like over the next month. So, we're talking, I'm talking like personal, like something I'm excited about that correlates to business and branding and what we're talking about. So we're going to Florida at the end of March for a couple weeks. And then on our way back, we're stopping at the Masters. And we went last year and we're going again this year on the Wednesday, like par 3 day before. So I'm excited about that. But I thought it would be cool. So like Birdie's, our restaurant downtown, is kind of like a subtle golf theme. Like we don't have... It's not like there's golf stuff on the wall, but like we like to golf and, so that
you called it Birdies.
Right. But we also kind of envisioned, same thing with Lenny's, like we envisioned this like big lady behind the bar that's like 60 years old with like the wide glasses.
That's
like
funny
her name's
you
Birdie.
Say that though. Like I've never pictured Birdies golf related. The restaurant.
Right.
Never
and I don't want it to be like
never
that.
thought of it as golf related at all.
No, but like we have one of those gumball dispensers in the back by the bathrooms that's filled with golf balls with our logo on them.
Yeah.
So like I like little nods to that, but I don't want to feel like it's you see like the 19th hole or like restaurants like that where it's like there's just golf stuff everywhere. I would want to be like that. So but I was thinking like it would be cool to we do specials every week, and that week have a special menu that looks like the Masters Champion dinner menu and basically just do what Scotty Scheffler is doing. So we're waiting, like we can either go off of his menu from 2 years ago when he won, or we can wait and see like what he comes out with this year and then promote it. And I think there would be enough traction just from people in the community that like to golf where it's like, oh, we can kind of like experience what the Masters Championship dinner is going to be like this year
that's
by
a great
having,
idea.
It's probably like 5 or 6 things on the menu, and they do it every year. Whoever won the previous year is the host of the dinner, and they design the menu. I just thought it would be kind of cool. Like we talk about branding, it's not like an over-the-top golf place, but it's little things we can do to provide a unique experience that I haven't put a ton of thought into it to know like what kind of impact it would make in our customers, but like I think, I'm just kind of curious to see like what the feedback is going to be from that.
Yeah, it's a really neat idea. I wonder if you could do, like, there's a couple places around town that have heated teas. Do they sell ad space? Do you get a week or 2 ads for the
heated teas?
Yeah, like Creekside.
Oh,
yeah,
like the hitting bay.
Yeah,
yeah.
Run a little ad at Creekside a week or 2 before. I bet your conversion.
That's
pretty
what.
high
Yeah,
on that.
one of my chefs brought that up last week in our meeting. Yeah, he kind of said that. So I think I kind of go back and forth. Like, do we want to put money into like marketing this, or do we just want to like put it out there, make some cool shorts and reels of the food, and kind of like I can even do a talking head video saying like what our special menu is going to be like, and then just see what kind of traction it gets. Because sometimes you post a video on Facebook and it gets like 5,000 views. Because people are sharing it and tagging it because they think it's cool. Other times it's like, oh, we got like 50.
I could see that really going on social if you're like breaking down the key dish and Scotty Scheffler's, master's menu, breaking down the key dish and that. And then you share the ingredients and how it's made and all that with the cool video. Like, that's something that could go from 5,000 views to 500,000 views.
You never know.
If you like hit it right and the right content's in it.
But that's something we didn't really talk about a ton. And I think it's almost like one of the most important components of branding is like, you gotta be thinking creatively.
Yeah.
And you just gotta try things,
Yeah.
And like, I have no idea if it might make zero impact, and like people might like to come in for the specials, and I might not hear any feedback, and it's okay. We had a good week or whatever, but it wasn't like it was a thing.
Yeah.
Or it could be something really cool, and then it's like, all right, let's do more of that. Like, what's the next like big event that we can kind of like build our specials menu around, and then promote it. Like,
yeah, that's an awesome
maybe
idea.
the Derby. Like, you don't do it every week, but like, 4 times a year.
Yeah, and it'd be fun to pick those events that, not the Super Bowl, not March Madness, not the giant ones that everybody's going to do a thing on. You do the Masters, you do Kentucky Derby, you do Wimbledon or something like that.
Because you're getting people that maybe wouldn't have normally come in, but you've like tickled them. Spark their interest.
Nope.
Give them a little tickle.
Tickle them. I think we stick with tickle them.
Yeah. I don't know why I said that. Just give them a little tickle.
This next week, I'm excited for our weekly cousin tickle fight. I'm kidding. We probably won't do a tickle fight.
Right, probably not. We'll think about it.
It's never zero, but it's probably not. No, I mean, we mentioned it off the top, but I've been really excited about YouTube. I know that's kind of lame to just double down on it, but I've been going live more. I produced my first full length. I'm gonna edit together.
Dude,
a
you're
video.
only allowed like one plug an episode. You're gonna get more subscribers than me.
Am I overplugging it?
No, I'm just kidding.
But no, I'm excited to solve something new.
Yeah.
And really dive into it. And YouTube is really hard to crack. It's been way harder than TikTok and Instagram to get like real traction and real views on. But I don't know. I'm not ready to give up yet. So
yeah, that's kind of where this idea came from. Like, you were doing your own content. I started getting interested in it, just doing like restaurant content, and made like a video, and you're like, dude, let's do a podcast. So that's, I mean, it's all kind of new for us. We have, between the two of us, we've got quite a bit of experience, just in terms of like audio, video. But just getting back into it. And part of that, I feel like at least for my industry, it was like the last year was the economy. Like we were feeling like things weren't good. Like sales weren't where we wanted them. And I was like, we just opened Birdies, and we were stretched real thin, just in terms of like money. So I was like, my mindset, in the last quarter of last year was like, I'm going to do everything in my power to make this work,
Yeah.
Like we've got a big payroll nut that we've got to pay out every single week, like we can't be losing money, and we just need a cushion. So like my mindset was like, just make content,
Yeah.
more so for Facebook. But then I was like, well, I'm doing all this. I got kind of more interested in it. Like I'll like look into YouTube stuff and I have a TikTok. I don't really spend that much time on it, but like when I make a video, I'll just post it over there too,
Yeah, the making the video is the hard part. The posting's easy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like if I just want to like for my own conscience, like no, I did everything I could to make it work. And it's been better, like getting into spring, like getting out of like just the economy, I feel like is starting to hopefully improve. Like I just feel like it is. Maybe it's not. I know interest rates aren't coming down, but it's been better lately. Like I don't feel that pressure, but I still feel like the excitement of like, well, let's just maximize. Let's have the best year we've ever had.
Yeah.
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 So, yeah, I didn't mean to hijack when you were you were talking. Sorry.
No, that's I love it. That's exactly how I feel too. The second things get slow, I'm like, make content.
Yeah.
Make content. Don't waste your downtime. Like, make something.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been doing more. I got a new Restream account and I've been going back on live streaming. The viewership is lower on live streaming for sure. I can do a TikTok video or an Instagram video that I know will get, maybe not know, but I know can get 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 views.
Yeah.
Which is way more than I'd ever get on a live stream. But I think there's something about the connection you make with a real human when they type something into their computer and you answer it in a really meaningful, helpful way. I think that's what you have to build. That attitude is what you have to build a social presence on, which we can talk some more about social media later. But
yeah.
That's what I'm excited about.
Nice.
This week. So
cool.
Should I press the button?
Yeah. It's fun hanging out, man.
It was.
Let's do it again next week.
Stay tuned for episode 3 coming soon to a internet near you.
That's right. See ya.